Oh my goodness. Are you guys, are you gals all as exhausted as I am?
Don't know if we're quite.
Probably, but for different reasons.
I have a 3-year-old boy that's pretty active. He can get up, or some farm animals, or a bunch of kids or family, who knows? So, so number four is so you'll notice we have a number of exciting things I learned. First of all, I like are wondering, I've never met anybody like this guy. And so it's fascinating to me on how I'm a mirror to people. Like I'm like I'm an accelerator of whatever people are. And so obviously I like that at times when people say, Mark, you're really smart. I'm not. I know that. It's very clear. Like it's very clear. Like it's not, it's very clear. But it's still nice when people say it, I guess. Or when they say you're really caring, I'm really not. Or when you're kind or generous. I'm really not anything. When people lavish praise on me, it's one of two reasons. What are the one or two reasons?
They want something.
They want something that's, I don't know, 50, 60, 70, 90% of the time. That's why people lavish praise on you. They want something. The other is what? It's genuine. Like they see something in you and it's like they want it. They value it. They want to experience it. And so when people say, so you'll notice a number of exciting things that I learned. First of all, I like you are wondering. I never, met any like this guy, anybody like this guy. So I think this is a good time to share, when, how I met Jim. So my wife and I had just moved here from Illinois. We had lived 35 years in Illinois. I had lived for 4 years before that in Illinois. And so we moved to Indiana um, from Illinois. It was a year after, maybe 6 months. Yeah, it was 6 months actually. It was 6, 7 months after our oldest son died, Jonathan, at the age of 30 years old. A rifle shot, suicide, a rifle shot to the head um, with our 19-year-old son 5 feet away from him. So 6 months after that, pretty sensitive time, pretty hard time. Um, and so when we moved, we were visiting churches. And so actually it was the first church we actually visited was the church that Jim went to. So we were sitting in the congregation. And so we visited 20 churches before we went ahead. And man, there's a lot of churches in northern Indiana. Holy cow. Like it's crazy. Like it's crazy. I mean, you don't like one, not a problem. Go to another. You don't like that one, go to another. And the Amish, they've kind of made it a little bit harder. Um, only way you can go to another one is you got to move. That's hard. So there's might be a better system where figure and work it out. Like work it out. Sometimes that doesn't work though either. And people move out of state. Why'd you move out of state? Yep, didn't like the bishop. Didn't like what the, it's like, wow, dang, that's some hardcore stuff. Anyways, so I'm sitting in the congregation, and Jim gets up to speak. And Jim's a big guy, like big, and he's an expressive, double expressive. Like this guy is powerful, and he's got energy and passion. He gets up and speak, and I'm like, dang. So he's a chaplain for the police. He's a chaplain for the police, and he gets up and speaks. And I'm like, I'm talking to that dude. I am talking to that. That guy is, man, is and he only spoke for like, I don't know, 3 minutes, 6 minutes. It wasn't very long. So, after I look at where I'm like looking at where like, is he leaving or? So I saw him go sit down at the other side, and it's a pretty big, I don't know, there's 300, 400 people. So it's pretty big. It's a good sized church, and he's way on the other side. And so I see him sit down. I'm like, okay. So as soon as the church is done, I make a beeline. I go over, and he's looking down. And again, the guy's big. He's like a Hulk, and he's like, and he's sitting down after church. He's sitting down, and he's got this portable computer. So big guy, little computer, and he's typing away at the computer. So I'm obviously respectful. I go and sit right across from him, like, and there's like chairs, so you're seeing. So you can envision me. I'm like sitting on the back of this chair, just sitting there, and he's looking down and typing. And all of us, I don't say anything. I just sit down and look at him because he seemed like he was doing something intent. And I don't want to interrupt the guy. Like, he seemed like he was pretty focused on stuff. And all of a sudden he looks up, but he doesn't move. He doesn't take his head and look up. He just like kind of looks up, and his eyes look at me. Like, just his head didn't move, just his eyes. He looks up. He's like, yeah. I'm like, hey, Jim, Mark, I really was intrigued by what you said up there. That was fascinating. He's like, okay. I said, like gruff, he's kind of rough, kind of gruff, which didn't matter to me. I don't care. And I said, like, I'm just curious, like, with all the things you got going in every area of your life, like, what's your biggest challenge? He's like, cloning me. I said, you're kidding. That's unbelievable. That's what I do for a living, is I clone people. We ought to talk. And then everything changes. I didn't find out until later. He was not happy. He was not a happy, explained it. He was not a happy camper because he was told that he was going to get 30 minutes to speak, and he only got like 3 minutes to speak. He had everything prepared, gets up there at the last minute. They say, you only have 3 minutes to speak. He was not a happy camper. And so that started out a 1-year adventure that was one of the craziest adventures I've ever had in my life. Like, he and I did everything together. I mean, everything. He and I were like, it was insane. It was absolutely insane. Within a couple weeks, we were on a podcast together, and with my youngest brother, Ken, and Jim invited me to go ahead and go on like a 1 week. He was going to go speak, and he was more mesmerized by me than any other friend I've ever had in my life. Nobody's ever been, as they call it, the word is hypopia. That's the word. So he had hypopia. It was like I walked on water. Like, it was crazy how much he thought of me. So he was going and doing the speaking tour, and he was doing a road trip, and probably a few months after we met, and he invited me to go with one other police officer. He was going to speak, and this other police officer and myself, and I could see some of the cracks, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure. And so he asked my brother, because I was thinking I might vaporize Jim. Like, it might not go well. I'm like, I don't know, maybe it was 4 or 5 months into the friendship that he did that. But there were some things that I saw in him, and the whole law enforcement stuff. I'm mapping all of this out. How do you clone him? Because the guy is amazing. He is absolutely magical in his presence, his presentation, his knowledge. Probably one of the smartest men I've ever met in my life. And man, this guy knows the Bible like nobody's business. It is, and his story growing up is just heartbreaking and exciting. Like, it's just interesting. Anyways, so he asked my brother, I said, and Ken, my brother, I wish that I had, it was recorded, but I don't know where the recording is. There's thousands of them. And so, but my brother Ken said something. He says, "You need to be warned in having Mark go with you." And it was a poetic what my brother said, something to the extent of, if you go with him on vacation or on a trip, on a road trip, if you go with him and you spend a week with him, you're going to go ahead and like, you've never met somebody like my brother. Like, everything you say can and will be used. Like, you're going to say stuff that you don't even realize you say, and it's going to have meaning that you don't even realize you have meaning. Like, it's just like he will take things and turn and bend. It's like he can bend steel, your mind. Like, it's like it will challenge you, Jim, in no way, like you can't even imagine. And so I'm like, yeah, I don't think this is a good idea. I think this could blow up the friendship, and I don't know. So what? Any ideas what we did?
Went anyways?
No, because it's not like I didn't want to go. I just, like, if I go, there's going to be significant ramifications. So what I did is I took from something from the Bible that very few people know. It's called the Newman and the Thummim. The Newman and the Thummim are. Do any of you know what the Newman and Thummim are? It's
Nope.
Yeah, it's the good Baptist training that I have. On the Jewish priests, the pastors of their day, they had the Newman and the Thummim, and what they would do is when they couldn't discern the will of God, they would essentially roll the dice. Like, it was just fascinating. I'm like, really? Like, the Baptists don't believe, they don't, pastors in the Baptists, they don't have Newman Thummim. But I'm like, why don't we flip a coin? And so we flipped the coin, and and Jim called tails, and it was heads, and so I didn't go. And so, but he and I went kayaking together. Like, he came over and helped, and I'll be forever, like, I'm clearing out. You couldn't even see our pond on our property. I mean, it was just everything. And I've got an excavator, and I'm cutting down stuff and ripping stuff out. And he and his wife, she's a absolute, like, their stories. Maybe we'll have one story of Jim. Like, that one year, so many stories of Jim. And is another really good friend of mine, Patrick Ryan. Like, they went ahead and spent a lot of time together. It was so fascinating because Patrick and I met playing pickleball, and I don't know, we kind of connected, and then I showed him. I sent the video over, and he's like, "I know Jim." So their kids grew up together. There's so many stories; it's insane. So Susie's his wife, and she's just a sweetheart. She's just amazing. So they came over once, and I was out clearing trees, and he just jumped in and just helped do it. It was just crazy. So many adventures with him, like, so many adventures. So appreciative. So, so what we're going to go next? This is for when we're going to number 5. But I did learn a handful of things I want to share with you. Maybe save you some time here. Maybe answer some questions for you. And so, again, as a reminder, like, if you want to be a level 4 friend with me, it's good to go through this before you get in, because one of my friends said once at a Coffee Connection, she says, when I'm in, I'm all in. I think what she's learning is her all in is very, very, very different than Mark's all in. And it's nothing, it's not better or worse. And so people with high ego think I'm saying this stuff to go ahead and lift me up. And it's like, if you've been through what I've been through and you learn how to take personal ownership and stuff, you'll never have ego. You just won't. You just won't. Any questions on any of this?
No.
Any thoughts?
Do you know
No.
where Jim is now?
I thought about putting a tracker on him, but I didn't. So I don't actually.
Interesting.
So, I mean, right? Like, huh, what an interesting question to me. Like, I hadn't thought about that, embedding a tracker in my friends. Like, so I could track their every movement. I could pull it up on a computer screen and track their every movement. What a great idea, Nora. That's awesome. Um, Anyone else have any questions? So in the future, you all might want to go ahead and ask the question, like, can you shift in the level of friendships? Can you go from a level 1 to a 2 to a 3 to a 4? Or once you're a 4, are you always a 4? Can you go back to a 3, a 2, or a 1? And Elaine, right now she's at a 4.2 friend, which is really a fascinating place to be. Very, very interesting. And so you might want to ask her, um, how'd you get to a 4.2? Anybody know what she's going to say?
What's she gonna say?
She's going to say, I don't know. Another question you could ask her, you could say, are you, are you happy you're at a 4.2? Anybody know what she's going to say?
What's she gonna say?
She, I can't really say it just like her, but I'll try. She's going to go, she's going to giggle. She's going to go, she'll go No, again, that's terrible. That's terrible. It's a terrible impression of her, but it's going to be, and she's going to go, hee. I'm not sure. You're not sure if you're happy at a 4.2? And it's like, yeah, no, not sure. And it's like, huh, why aren't you sure? And it's like, well, I can't find the words for it. So, yeah, being a 4, once you get into that level 4 stuff, holy cow. Like, like all the level 4s should go ahead and warn people, don't go ahead and be in that level. So, anyways, hopefully this is helpful. Can't wait to get to 5. I'm sure you're all, as excited or more excited than I am, for sure. Always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye bye.